Isaiah Thomas, former All-Star, former 29 points per game scorer on elite efficiency, former leader of a Celtics team that reached the conference finals, this was all just over 2 years ago. However, over the past 2 years, Isaiah has reached the lowest point of his career. He was made fun of when he said it's time to bring out the Brinks truck as he was looking for a massive payday. He was mocked when he was in Cleveland playing alongside LeBron James. Time and time again, Isaiah has said that he still feels like a star and wants to prove it. But he either has not gotten the chance or he just didn't play that well in the minutes he was given. On the other side of the spectrum, Goran Dragic has been relatively consistent throughout his career. During his time with the Miami Heat, it was the first time in his career where he was given a stable role on the team. While he's always been quite underrated, he's currently having an incredible year as a sixth man, coming back from a knee surgery the previous season, and it doesn't look like he lost a single step. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today we're gonna take a look at these two players. How did they get here, and how were they able to bounce back? But before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an app that aggregates ticket prices from all over the web to help you find the best deals for games, concerts, Broadway shows, and other events. The prices marked in green are good, while the ones in red are bad. I've used the app to buy tickets before, and the process was very smooth. The app is very easy to use, and you can also see the view from your seats before you buy your tickets, which is my favorite feature. Use my promo code ANDY at checkout to get $20 off your first order. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. Alright, let's get started. Let's start with Isaiah Thomas, who's been under the spotlight for a long time, but recently he's been going under the radar. Back in 2015, when he joined the Boston Celtics, it was the best couple years of his NBA career. It was here where Isaiah quickly became the leader of a young roster. He would lead the team in scoring in the next 2 years, and the Celtics shocked everybody. In the post-Big Three era, they were in the early stages of rebuilding, but after acquiring Isaiah, they were no longer rebuilding. They were now a playoff team, as they transitioned into a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference with Isaiah leading the way. That year, he finished 5th in MVP voting with over 28 points per game with over a 62% true shooting percentage. In fact, only 6 other players have averaged over 28 points and over 62% true shooting for an entire season. Those 6 players were Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, James Harden, Adrian Dantley, Karl Malone, and Charles Barkley. That's an incredible group of players to be with, and it just shows how good of a scorer he was that season when it comes to volume and efficiency. However, throughout the playoffs, Isaiah's health was getting worse and worse. He was playing through a hip injury that severely hampered his quickness and his balance. The once coordinated athlete was struggling to finish at the rim, to finish simple layups and floaters that he normally hit in the regular season. Additionally, his sister passed away in a car accident right before the playoffs began, and that was absolutely awful. Thomas was not only battling injuries, but getting through his mental hurdle was ridiculously tough. With that being said, he still delivered, dropping 53 points against the Washington Wizards in the second round, and also leading the Celtics from being down 2-0 in the first round against the Bulls. Unfortunately, he would sit out the majority of the conference finals as his hip injury got worse, and the Celtics would ultimately lose in 5. Afterwards, the summer of 2017 marked a blockbuster trade. The trade that sent Kyrie Irving from Cleveland to the Boston Celtics, in exchange for, guess who? Yup, Isaiah Thomas. However, around this time, there was a lot of speculation about Isaiah's injury. How serious was it? Nobody really knew. Before the Cavs accepted the trade, Woj reported in an article that, quote, after Cleveland's physical examination of Isaiah Thomas's injured hip raised concern about the timeline for his return this season, Cavaliers officials are planning to seek an additional trade asset before finalizing a deal to send 4-time All-Star guard Kyrie Irving to the Boston Celtics, league sources said. The hip injury was a huge reason, well, it was the primary reason why the Celtics decided to not give him that Brinks truck he was looking for. And they turned out to be correct. On the Cavs, Isaiah struggled mightily and became the butt of many jokes. Then, halfway through the season, he got traded to Los Angeles. And then over the summer of 2018, he got arthroscopic surgery on his right hip, the same hip that's been bothering him for a long time. Now, it was finally time for his next contract, and he signed with Denver for 1 year, $2 million, where he only appeared in 12 games the entire season. He didn't play much, but this was essentially just a rehab season for him as he recovered from hip surgery. Over time, a lot of fans and reporters have said that Isaiah had the biggest fall-off in the history of basketball. Many believed he cost himself over $100 million by playing for the Celtics while injured. And in return, the Celtics did not have the same loyalty and they just gave him away. It was a tough decision from a personal standpoint because Isaiah meant so much to the Celtics organization and their fan base, and everyone thought he deserved to be treated better. From a basketball point of view, the Celtics knew what they were doing and they dodged a bullet by letting him go, because this injury was obviously very serious. In recent times, Isaiah Thomas signed with the Wizards in the 2019 offseason, and he's been pretty good. I mean, he's not an all-star or anything like before, but he's found a nice niche on a team that's rebuilding for the future. He's averaging about 12 points, 5 assists, and his three-point shooting looks really good. His jump shot and athleticism look like they're coming back. Unfortunately, his defense is even worse than before, and I didn't even know that was possible. Out of all qualified players, Isaiah Thomas has the second worst defensive rating in the entire league. Although, to be fair, the entire Wizards team has been god-awful on defense. It's not only his fault. Isaiah's future is still up in the air. Nobody really knows where his career is going to be headed. Do I think he's going to regain his all-star form? I don't think so, but I do believe he can be a solid rotation player for years to come. Now, moving on to Goran Dragic. He's another point guard, but not many people have talked about him for a while. And when they do, it's like, oh yeah, Goran Dragic. I know him, he's a good point guard and pretty underrated. And that's pretty much the extent everyone knows him for. Some older fans remember him on the Phoenix Suns. As a sophomore, he scored 23 points in the fourth quarter of a playoff game to defeat the San Antonio Spurs. This was back in 2010, and the Suns would go on to sweep the series. Since then, nobody really talks about him, but he's had quite a few stellar seasons, averaging over 20 points, a couple seasons with very high efficiency, and even an All-Star appearance in 2018, which many people did not agree with, but he deserved it. One thing that's similar between Dragic and Isaiah Thomas is that both of them had a very hard time fighting for minutes early in their careers. They had to prove themselves to their coaches that they deserved the starting point guard spot on their respective teams. For Dragic, it was in Houston where he competed with Kyle Lowry and ultimately got the starting spot. Later, it was in his second stint in Phoenix where he competed with Bledsoe and Isaiah himself. And then finally, in Miami, it was the first time of his career where he found actual stability on a team that truly believed in him. Now, he's in his 6th season with the Miami Heat. After a tremendous amount of work over the summer, Dragic is back and looks just as good as he did before his knee injury. Previously, the injury hampered him for the entire 2018-19 season and he missed over half the games. However, he's healthy now and he has a new role. The Miami Heat have been well known for running a bunch of unorthodox lineups over the last few years, as coach Erik Spoelstra likes to experiment with things like that. So beginning in the 2019-20 season, they haven't even had a true point guard in their starting lineup. Dragic, who's been the starting point guard in the previous years, is now on the bench. As of now, the Heat starting backcourt includes Jimmy Butler and rookie Kendrick Nunn, neither of whom are actual point guards, but they can run the offense. And the team has been doing well, so I guess we can't really fault them. Time flies, and now Dragic is 33 years old, but I don't know if that plays into the decision of moving him to the bench. I think it's mainly because the Heat just want him to run the second unit. And as a result, the Miami Heat have the 4th highest scoring bench in the league. Nearly half of their total scoring output comes from their bench. As the leader of the bench squad, Dragic has been playing very well, averaging 16 and 5 on great shooting splits. most of the time, he still closes out games. I think what gets overlooked is how great of a teammate Dragic is, and how he's always been a team player and accepted this new role. I mean, he was just an all-star and now he's coming off the bench, yet he has no problem with it. When addressing this, he said, quote, "For me, it's the path of every athlete. When you're young, you play a lot of minutes. Then it comes time when you need to make sacrifices for the team. It's not easy, we're all competitors, we have egos. It's my job, I have to be a professional." Anyway, that's all folks. That sums up what's been going on with Isaiah Thomas and Goran Dragic. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about these two players and what is your opinion of them. Do you think Isaiah will ever average 20 points per game again, or is he now destined to be a role player? And do you think Dragic could have a chance to win 6th Man of the Year? I think it'll be hard with Lou Williams hogging that award, but hey, you never know. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.